Welcome in, everyone. I am Turner Niley, joined by the foghorn himself, Abe Miller, here to talk about our first ADP movers and risers. What is the deal with these guys? We're going to look at the changes over the last, say, month and a half now, since June through July, across Sleeper, Underdog, Yahoo, and ESPN. We're going to call out 5 players that are moving up and 5 that are moving down, and take a look at what the experts are saying on the old podcast spheres, and obviously give you our opinions as well. If we are a believer or we are a seller, we are a fader of these players. So Foghorn, let's get right into it and talk about our first riser, and he is the result of a trade, and that is none other than DeVonta Smith,
the Slim Reaper.
Yeah, Slim Reaper, and he's looking pretty. I mean, he may not have a little meat on his bones here, but he's looking delicious this year to me in 2026. Obviously not a great 2025 when you look at his stats from last year, but his ADP has been on the rise. I think Sleeper is the one that's trailing right now. Underdog is hot on the tail. He's like at top of the 3rd round right now, and maybe even goes a little higher as things steam up. And what is getting people hot and bothered is AJ Brown is gone. And so that's 2 things to look at. I think called out here by the RotoWire team. The AJ Brown role has been vacated. That is a very juicy role. Top 5 first read rate to go along with a 35% air yard share. And not only that, but as Fantasy Pros team called out, the last 2 years without AJ Brown, when it has been the DeVonta Smith show, he fell right into that role, close to a 33% target share and 2.65 yards per route run, which is phenomenal. And so I think everyone right now is getting pretty wheels up. We got the new offensive coordinator as well. What's your thoughts on DeVonta Smith?
I love it. I'm a big buyer on him this year. I mean, the guy, obviously, as you said, when AJ Brown wasn't playing, the target share was way up. You have obviously the offensive situation last year in Philly was a little bit, up and down, brutal. Yeah. But he, with AJ Brown gone, I always felt like that team has always felt, to me, it was hard to feed them both. Right. And this guy is he won the Heisman as, a skinny wide receiver in Alabama. So he could get open. I mean, I love him. I think I do not have a problem with him, you drafting him as your, wide receiver 1.
Oh, absolutely.
And taking him, even if you want to take him, and even at the end of the 2nd round, right? If you feel, that's how high I am on him. I think he's going to have a monster season.
Yep. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Let's move on to our second riser. And let's talk about the good old Emeka Egbuka himself, Emeka Egbuka here. And obviously, things have changed here as well. Mike Evans is gone. And obviously, Emeka Egbuka was phenomenal in the first part of the season. And then we got Baker injuries. He was injured. The eye test didn't really look right. But the community as a whole, I think, is very bullish right now. The target competition. You've got Chris Godwin, who also may be a value play this year, but he's obviously older. The younger guys, Ted Hurst, Ted Johnson. I don't think people believe they're more talented than Emeka Egbuka. RotoWire, they're in on him for 150 targets. And then Fantasy Pros, again, they look at him as another breakout player this year. I think I'm in on that as well. The new OC in Tampa said The Z roll is all Egbuka. So, if from Puka to Egbuka, let's get the Z going here and get that type of volume.
Yeah.
And then I think you got to believe was it Faker last year or was he hurt? And it was 2 years ago more the anomaly of his performance. And so if you believe Baker was hurt, then I think you got to, and he's bound for a rebound as well. Egbuka should be the benefit of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the Baker thing, right? Baker's always going to throw the ball. You can always, he's going to chuck it.
Yeah, it's his job.
He needs a guy to throw it to, right? But he's obviously the heir apparent to Mike Evans, right? And I think with that being said, the other big part of this that I think is, you touched on a second ago, Zach Robinson, who's the new offensive coordinator there. I mean, I really liked the Atlanta offense last year with basically, I think, subpar quarterback play than Baker, right? And that offense put up numbers, and I think Tampa Bay's offense is going to have just a natural lift to it this year. So he's obviously the one that's going to be getting fed. Godwin, I think, is still a great player. I think he's going to get really good value, like I said, in later rounds. But with that being said, Godwin also has been he gets injured every year, it feels like, right? And again, this guy coming out of Ohio State, there was articles about, he's maybe the greatest of all the Ohio State receivers ever come out. So, and that's saying a whole heck of a lot. So I've always liked this guy. I tried to get him last year in our home league and a couple other leagues, and always got beat to the punch. Again, another wide receiver one that I'm okay with you taking. But I don't know. It depends on roster construction, right? Where you're going to take him. I just think, he's moving up the board as he should be, right? So
yeah, and I think to look at like the ADP charts here, the home leagues, the sleepers, the Yahoos and ESPN are kind of still behind the times. You look at the underdog ADP, he's at 33, right? That's like beginning of the third round. So the beginning of the fourth round.
Correct.
And so maybe I can try that again. End of the third round.
Yeah, wait. How many teams are we playing with here? Okay.
But yeah, he's already, like, for the people that are, in tournaments now and playing for real money, not people maybe half-assing a public draft or something like that. They're in on Egbuka, and I think to the point of his numbers fading last year, JJ Zacharyson on his late round fantasy football podcast, called out, like, in totality, he had a good rookie season. I know it stunk because everyone was, losing their nuts over how well he performed at the beginning and expecting that to continue, and he just cratered and probably killed you.
Well, the whole Tampa Bay offense cratered.
Yeah.
Like, that team was a train wreck for the last 8 games.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But, yeah, I believe in the talent. I'd struggle to have him as my wide receiver one. We talked about DeVonta Smith. Yeah, that's a slam dunk. Wide receiver one, put him in. But, a wide receiver two, I'll sign me up with the upside that he could land as a wide receiver one week to week.
He has that potential.
Yep.
I mean, he definitely has that potential. I mean, again, if he's going to take Breakfast Mike's role, right, Mike Evans' role, then there you go.
Yep. All right, let's talk about our number 3 guy, Rachaad White. He's been someone I haven't been in on. I kind of got in a little bit last year just because he was free, right? Yeah. After Bucky kind of went bananas his sophomore, his rookie year. But going into this draft season, I was like, I didn't really give it a lot of thought. But, after looking through the data here, looking through the commentary from the analyst community, I'm kind of in, especially at the price. We're talking what here, like, 119 on Sleeper, 107 on Underdog, 123 on Yahoo. Like, yeah, sign me up, man. Especially if I'm going 0 RB. You got, the big narrative from all the analysts is, 50 plus catches, three straight years. And, we dinged him a lot because he had the big years with Tampa, but from an efficiency standpoint, he didn't look very good. Eye test didn't look very good, especially running the ball. But his efficiency's been up. His yards per carry are up the last couple of years. His EPA was up this past year. And I think the other thing that we're hearing, he looks like the odds-on favorite to lead that backfield. And he played with Jayden Daniels at ASU for a year. So they've got some history. And, he's battling Katron Allen and Bill Krosky-Merritt, who have, no draft capital.
Yeah, agreed. This is a really intriguing one. And the other big thing about this is, look, reports I've been reading are, that Bill is still going to be your goal line back. He's still going to be your, first down back. But I also think game script comes into a lot of this, which means I think he's going to be on every passing down. Rachaad White's going to be in there. Yeah. And here's the thing, right? Who else is Jayden Daniels throwing the ball to? I mean, he's got Scary Terry, right? And he's got, Chig, the Chig, as I love to call him, who I love, by the way. I actually think he's a way undervalued tight end, but that's for another conversation. But he could be your third option in a passing attack, right?
Yeah.
And, I think that personally, I know that they went to the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. I don't think Washington's really that good. I think that was kind of more flukish than anything.
Yeah. 100%.
And so I think that they're going to be down, especially in that division, getting better, just being in the NFC in general. And I think he's going to be getting thrown the ball a lot. I mean, 50 plus catches for a running back. If you're in a PPR format league, which most people are, right? This guy is, I'm rolling him as my RB2, no problem. You know what I mean? And he's going to get you points.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm bullish. I agree. I think he's going to get a lot of targets. I can't see him, you get a rookie and a 7th round pick that, I'm assuming the coaches aren't going to trust in pass pro. That's all Rachaad White every third down and probably getting half of the carries on first and second down. So, I'm in on Rachaad White as well.
He just never he's never, when I watch him, he doesn't excite me. He's not dynamic, right? Yeah. But it's okay, dude, if Jayden Daniels is going to check the ball down, he's a great option to check the ball down to and get you 4 yards every play, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So agreed. It's going to be, I think, interesting to see if people start to catch up with his ADP. Obviously, ESPN's kind of riding along with underdog there. Sleeper Yahoo a little bit behind here, but we'll see if what the camp talk does to steam him up more. But anyone drafting early, obviously best ball attorneys and stuff like that, I think he's a great grab. All right, let's move on to our 4th option, and that is Brittle Kittle. Obviously, he had the Achilles tear on 111. He's 33. It's interesting. He's rising up based off of all the swell of optimism with he may have the cleanest ACL tear ever. I guess that's the reports that I see. I think he just was spotted squatting 600 pounds. So, whether that's deep fake or not, it remains to be seen.
Right.
It is coming from the Niners. So, he's absolutely not starting the season. I think, and he's likely not going to be at full strength when he does return. I don't know if I trust this dude to not push himself and re-injure him and, overdo it now on the other leg. And so then he, creates a soft tissue issue over there, whatever it may be. This is one I'm struggling on. Obviously the home league sites are much higher. He's being faded more in underdog drafts, but he's been rising there as well. I think people are thinking just to toss him on there, but I don't think I'm in. He's going ahead of Kelsey. He's going ahead of Rachaad White. I wouldn't take Kittle over those guys.
No, look, I'm a huge Niners fan, so they're my team, right? I follow them on the offseason and everything. I think a lot of these reports you're hearing are classic Shanahan diversion. Let's not forget the old Cavs from Mr. McCaffrey himself 2 years ago. I went back and I looked at some reports and did some deep diving on that. And there were numerous press conferences where, obviously camp starting. Oh, he's not playing. He's not practicing. We're just going to rest him. He's not in this preseason game. McCaffrey's totally fine, right? That was all done. And it's kind of the same language that's coming out of the Niners organization about Kittle. I love George Kittle. I'm not drafting him.
Yeah.
So that tells you, I think this is I feel like people are going to get fooled. If I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong because it only helps me in my fandom, right? That's going to be great. But I don't see it. And I think, it's a massive reach for people. You're not using any draft capital. Okay, if he's laying there in a league with a bunch of smart guys, right, who are kind of all thinking like we are, and he's there in the last round, and you have one or two picks left, and he's available, yeah, go for it, grab him, right? Why wouldn't you? But there's a lot of people on the board, and he's going what at the end of the what was his position again? He was that. I was shocked when I saw this. He's where at?
In the 7th round,
7th or 8th round, right? That's crazy to me. Crazy.
Yeah,
so
not going to do it.
I mean, yeah, I'm not doing it. But anyway, that's my thoughts. Again, I don't buy it. I don't trust it. I don't trust the Niners telling you the truth. That's just part of their whole. That's how they do things there. They're not going to show their cards.
Yeah, and I saw this clip from ETR and. I think Evan Silva definitely echoes the same. It's just hard to fathom an older player, the wrong side of 30, coming back from an Achilles and being effective very early on. So, we don't need to beat a dead Achilles here, but it kind of feels like some hopium. Obviously, it's George Kittle. If he plays at the level we expect, right. Awesome. I just. Can't do it.
Remember what he does, right? He's one of the best tight ends, not because he goes and catches the ball. We're just talking about in football play. Yeah. Because he knows how to block people. And guess what? You're going to hurt when you're blocking 600-pound dudes, like you were saying, or 300-pound linemen coming at you. Your Achilles is going to blow. How long is that going to hold up? And if they're smart, they're going to ease him back in. Side note: if you're going to draft, Tungus is probably going to be extreme value, right? That's the guy that I think you should be looking at on the Niners if you want extreme value again, in much later rounds, not necessarily George Kittle.
Yeah. No, I like Jake as well as a grab towards the end of a best ball draft. If you're hurting at tight end, he seemed to have some synergy there with Purdy. Obviously not as good as Kittle, but
sure,
a good red zone threat, especially with with Kittle not going to be able to play.
Yeah, but remember, you also have a new red zone threat there, right?
Yeah, Mike Evans.
Yeah. So, anyway.
All right. Let's go to our last riser here. And that is Jonathon Brooks. So Jonathon Brooks, is he healthy? That's what we have to choose to believe. But a lot of chatter on him in the offseason, a lot of steam. This is, however you want to choose to believe these things, but I don't mind taking people that have been hurt 2 years in a row. I feel like the second time they got it right. I feel like if you've been able to heal twice and you've got talent, I'm usually going to be in on that. To be hurt 3 times in a row, just the odds tend to stack in your favor. And to quote here, JJ Zacharias in a late round fantasy podcast, The Twitter doctors all saying he should be good this time. He should be great to go. So a lot of bullish coach speak about Jonathon Brooks as well. And, from the Fantasy Pros team, I think there's a Debro in particular, like, he was the top drafted running back 2 years ago. Obviously, he was the weakest running back draft class in a while, but he was the top pick, and he was the top pick while recovering from an ACL, in the top half of the second round. So of that year's draft, and probably would have went higher if he had not gotten hurt. So he's got talent. I think that's coupled with what we saw from Chuba last year is what gets people somewhat excited that if he slips this, Brooks slips into the Dowdle role and then with a chance to overtake Chuba at, over time, then this guy's a real value. And you can see again at the underdog ADP, he's, going much higher than you see in the home league sites right now.
I mean, I like him. I like him a lot, but at the same time, I'm a little concerned, about reaching. Obviously, all these guys we're talking about are players that, that you're going to draft, right? It's just when you're going to draft them. We're talking about talent. He's talented, right? Like you said, he was the first back in that draft. And I do like, Hubbard, I think, who we're going to talk about in a little bit later. Hubbard is one of these guys who's going down because I think people realize that he's going to do the Rico role, right? Jonathon Brooks could be that guy and step in there and take over. It seems like a gamble, if that makes sense. That you're, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's the price is almost nothing right now, right? It's like whatever 10th round, why not? Ninth round. At that point, you're shooting for upside, and you don't usually get a running back, as highly drafted as Brooks was. Obviously, you're getting the injury discount. Yeah, with an opportunity to maybe step into a starter role and maybe he's your third, fourth running back taken.
Potentially then as an RB2 or 1 possibly.
Well, yeah, drafting as an RB4 or whatever. And now you got with an upside of probably like an RB2, right? I can't see him being an RB1, RB2.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's now move. We'll go the inverse of old Jonathon Brooks here. And let's move to Chuba Hubbard as well. And obviously 2024 was amazing. 2025, not so much. And it's obviously, I think there's only so much intrinsic energy in the backfield for Carolina. So with Brooks going up, naturally Hubbard has to come down a bit.
Yeah, of course.
And, Hubbard, what do we want to believe them? I think his efficiency metrics looked terrible. He said he came back too quick from injury, probably because he saw Dowdle stealing his job. Mm-hmm. And so perhaps that's the reason why he played so poorly last year. If this quote here, and part of the reason Chuba Hubbard wasn't that good last year. 50 running backs had 90 plus carries last year. Hubbard ranked 41st or worse in yards per carry, rush yards over expected per attempt, yards after contact, missed tackles forced. So he was bad, real bad last year. And so, and so that's why I think people are high on Brooks, and that people are soft on Hubbard. But we can flip this. He's a locker room guy. Canales seems to really like him. He's on, contract right now, heavily paid contract. So, but that said, like in this snippet here from RotoWire, Dave Canales is willing to go to the best, the hot hand, the best guy. And if Hubbard comes out like he did last year, Brooks is going to be wheels up. The other thing, before I hand it over to you, Abe, the other thing for me on this one too, when we talk about opportunity cost, when I look at the people going around the same round as Hubbard, you've got like Christian Watson, Jalen Warren, Marvin Harrison. I think I'd rather have all those guys than Chuba Hubbard.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I do think thinking was he's injured, right? That whole thing feels like it was that he said it like he came back too quickly. That was to me why it felt like there was such a fall off in his production. Because again, 2 years ago, he was awesome. I thought he was great. But right now, I mean, he's going in the 8th round. Is that right? Seventh round.
Yeah.
7 or 8. Yeah. So I can see why a lot of, the sharps out there are fading him. You've hit on everything. But the big one I think is, here's the biggest thing about, again, going back to the whole Carolina backfield thing. Their coach, Canales will again play whoever is the best, who's doing the best. Like, he doesn't care, right? He's just going to throw a guy out there. And I mean, as all coaches should, really. But I mean, he's got a very short leash, it feels like. I mean, you're going out there immediately. And that's also, again, you hit on it before. Maybe that's why he ran out there quicker. Hubbard went out there because he realizes how Canales is with such a short leash. So, again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm even touching any of the backfield in Carolina this year.
That may be a smart effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to our next faller. And this may be a little bit of rage bait. We can package both of these two together. And Jayden Daniels and Josh Allen. So I've got Josh Allen first here. So he's fallen a bit, as well as Jayden Daniels. And it's small potatoes, but this is about the great QB depression of 2026. We're getting discounts on the elite QBs this year. Josh Allen, in your home league, is going kind of the end of the second, top of the third. An underdog, man. It's he's going in the back end of the third. Like that's crazy to me. Crazy. He is, over the past 6 years, has not finished less than quarterback 2. I think he has 39 touchdowns in the last 6 years as well. He is just the model of consistency. And someone to this quote here from Fantasy Points, he's someone where you can screw up with your lineup, but he'll put 40, maybe even 50 points on the board.
Multiple times a season.
Yeah.
And he did it last year multiple times. I don't get this at all. Again, the rage bait is coming out. It's I don't know what guys are thinking. I mean, well, there's for a yin, there's a yang. So, like, who are they taking where he's going the back end of the third instead of the back? When he's normally getting drafted at the end of the second or even middle of the second. Yeah. Like, what players are going ahead of him? That's kind of, and this goes back again to all this is roster construction. If Josh Allen is available to me at the beginning of the third round or at even the end of the second, because I'm getting at the turn, right? Obviously there, I'm taking him at some point, right? Like, he's right there. I'm like, he's going to the back of the third. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if I'm picking number 1 overall and I get to add Josh Allen to, say, Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson, sign me up, and then I can take a wide receiver at the turn 2. Like, I feel really good about that. So loving the discount on Josh Allen. The ballers, the fantasy footballers we're talking about him as well on list. I don't know I'm trying to remember what the actual metric is, but you usually put Josh Allen on your team. You got to really fumble the bag here to not make the playoffs. So he's kind of like a cheat code, like a Christian McCaffrey when he's healthy type player. Like, you're going to make, the playoffs. And I mean, he's the safest pick in fantasy usually.
By far, hands down, like for the 6 years now, as you said. Yeah.
And then, next, Jayden Daniels. Obviously, he was hurt last season, and it's why we're getting a discount. But like him, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Drake May, I mean, these were guys that, we're going to the third, fourth round now, and like, the fifth, the sixth round that they're going to now. To me, it's like the rosters that you can build now, even if you grab these guys a little bit earlier, like I'm still higher than ADP here. We've got them ranked at 42. I might have to move him down a little bit, but like, even in the home leagues, it's 53. Underdog, he's 66. That's to me, easy. It's criminal and very mispriced. I think we forget how great he was his rookie season. There's the reason for concern from the new OC. They're taking him out of shotgun and putting it, which is kind of more of his natural way to play, putting him under center, and in an offensive line where I've heard some debates of it being bad or good, whatever, but it's mostly unchanged. And so, there's maybe some concern, but I mean, I just feel like he could lead all quarterbacks in rushing this year. Could be seeing a bunch of red zone carries as well. So, I'm just pretty bullish here. I think Draft Sharks, like they're a little lower on Daniels. Again, I think they're saying he's overpriced, which I can't really get behind. These guys are really good from a draft accuracy standpoint. They're liking May better. Jalen Hurts. I actually have Jalen Hurts ahead of Jayden Daniels. But overall, I am just kind of shocked at the discount we're seeing at quarterback this position. Maybe they were overpriced. Obviously, the returns from last year between like Lamar Jackson, Jayden Daniels, Joe Burrow, not very good. I think that's trifecta of receipts from last year are probably the reason we're seeing this suppression. For I think for sharp people, I think you've got an opportunity to snipe these guys that can be a real difference maker on your team week in and week out and give you an advantage of the onesie position, especially in like a 10-team league.
Yeah, I think he obviously Jayden Daniels is representing that group of quarterbacks, like the Drake Mays and the Jalen Hurts and all those guys. And I personally, I'm taking Drake May or Jalen Hurts over Jayden Daniels. But again, the fall off there seems it doesn't make any sense. But I could, again, what do I know? Right? I don't know. But he's a dynamic player, and at the end of the day, like he can run, which is what you need, and he can. I mean, he's not going to run first, but when he takes off, he's kind of like Lamar in that regard, right? He can, if you can do that kind of stuff as a player and even be half of what Lamar Jackson can do on the field as a quarterback, that's extreme value right at that position that you're getting him at. I kind of hope he keeps falling even more because other leagues I'm playing in this year, I'll grab him in the 8th round if he's there.
Yeah.
Right? 7th round, I'll take him for sure. Right. If I've got a really good team, because I think he could be really, really good, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll end with this, like from established the run here. Like they're very bullish on him as well. They seem as mispriced here. And so, they're kind of more in line with like the ESPNs and the Yahoos of the world. So like in best ball, it's a smash. I'm obviously even higher than him at 42, but we'll see. May have to adjust some of my rankings here, but I think I'm in on a bounce back year for Jayden Daniels and him, running a bunch this year. So we'll see.
How many yards? His rookie year, how many yards did he have? He carries.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. I want to say it was close to 800, but.
Oh yeah! Wow, that's a ton.
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you dig it up here, and I'll move on to the next guy here.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Davante Adams, the legacy wide receiver 1 for a long time. Had a monster season last year on the back of, and I've got this up from Reception Perception here, Yahoo Fantasy. He had a 58% end zone target share, which was like the best in the history of time. And so obviously he's getting sold on his age. He's getting sold on regression of that red zone. But I think RotoWire, pointed out like, yeah, he overachieved, in the red zone, but he underachieved kind of everywhere else. And so there is a some equilibrium to be had here. Right now, it's crazy because I do like Davante Adams. He's usually, you look at his historicals and he's 190 points plus, on the season, half PPR. I've got him down at 58, and so I'm fading him. I look like I hate Davante Adams. I don't know if I hate the player. There just seems to be a lot of guys that I like more right now. And I may need to move him up as well. I'm kind of mixed here, I guess, at the end of the day. Obviously, with my rank, I'm not going to be getting Davante Adams anywhere. But give me your 2 cents here on.
The example I used with this guy is, there are past receivers in the past that are Hall of Fame receivers that were did it much longer, even than this guy past this guy's age, right? I think I look at Davante Adams and I think of like Larry Fitzgerald, right? I think he's always going to fit in. I think he's probably, from what you read from people, say he might be the greatest route runner of all time, right?
Yep.
Knowing the route tree and all those things. So he's always going to obviously get open if he loses a step, if he gets a little bit older. And with that offense, with the Rams offense, they're going to move him around. I think him falling. Again, your rank, I think you've got him a little low, in my opinion. I don't see it. I'm again want to take Davante Adams every time I have a chance to get him, even if he's older. Like I don't care. He again. I love Davante Adams. I think he's a great player. He's super fun to have on your fantasy team if you ever get him. And he's obviously he's a little bit slower. What he's going to do, what he did last year, I don't think so. Right.
Well, not from a touchdown perspective, no. Yeah.
Yeah. But he didn't go that high. I mean, last year it wasn't like he was getting drafted as, he was drafted as a wide receiver 1, maybe at the tail end, more wide receiver 2. And some of the leagues I was in, they weren't drafted right. Mm-hmm. So, okay. I mean, one of those things about this ADP discussion, right?
Yeah. It's, for me, and I agree, like he's obviously legendary. It's like, does Father Time finally catch up with him? I don't know if I saw it last year. So, there's reason for optimism, and, Puka's not the banner of health as either. I mean, both these guys can kind of get hurt, but Davante seems to get hurt a little bit more lately, but Puka's not the bastion of great health. And so, he goes down, and my God, Davante Adams is going to be amazing. I'll have to look at my ranking here, but
891 yards.
What's that?
It was 891 yards for Jayden.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, ridiculous. I mean, that's almost 1,000 yards his rookie season. So, close out here. Like, obviously, RotoWire said it too. Like, they're calling me out too here with this one. Like, 18 wide receiver spots lower than finished last year. So I think there's opportunity. I'll probably revisit my rankings here for Davante Adams, and see if I've got some more conviction to move him up. But right now he seems to be depressed, and we'll see. I guess verdict here for me is mixed, and until I revisit my rankings here, but he's obviously a Hall of Fame player. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to our last faller. And let's talk about Harold Fannin. We'll be fanning the flames here. He's kind of been a darling of the offseason. Underdog, he's going really low right now. ESPN, all the home leagues, he's going much higher than we're seeing an underdog right now. And that's kind of shocking to me. I think, what we're seeing, he had a groin injury in OTA. He's obviously healthy now. He's got increased competition when you draft, Casey Concepcion in the first, and then Denzel Boston high in the second round. And then you've got this, whatever we're doing at quarterback with Gene Watson and Sanders. I don't think I give a shit. I think Fannin showed towards the end of the season with Shador that he is a target earner. And, I think this quote from Fantasy Points says a lot here. He's second in targets per route run, led all players at tight end, and missed tackles forced per route run. Yeah. And they're rookies, right? These guys aren't going to come in and light the world on fire. I know people are high on Casey Concepcion in particular, but Fannin seems different. And yeah, this point, another point from Fantasy Points, no pun intended there. He's fourth among tight ends in first read on first read target share. So, I think, and that's behind, Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, and George Kittle. So, to me, Fannin seems like that guy.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Totally agree with it. I think this guy is awesome. Like he's like, it's like Fannin's like, oh, we wanted David Njoku to be this guy, and then he never became that guy.
Yeah.
And Fannin is that guy. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah, like if I can't get the top four, you got Bowers, McBride, Loveland, Warren.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't get in on these guys, Fannin's my guy, and he's obviously in best ball coming at a steep discount. But even in Sleeper, ESPN, Yahoo, I'm not afraid of that ADP either. So yeah, this one, it's interesting that he's regressed a bit here in ADP, but I am definitely in on Fannin this year, and probably this is the one, like at everyone we talked about, I think is one of the most egregious in people that I'm kind of shocked that he's going.
When we were going through this list, right, like these fallers, I was shocked. I thought he'd be on the list of risers. That's how, I thought he'd be on the other list. I'm really surprised that he's going down, which I don't buy into the, like you said, I don't give a shit, right? Like the quarterback situation. Well, you know what shitty quarterbacks do? They throw it to tight ends, right? So, they're going to be their blanket, right? As they always say. So again, I love Fannin. I want to grab him, and I'm grabbing him. If I have him as my number 4 ranked tight end.
Wow.
After these other guys. So he's my number 4 ranked. I have him above, Kraft.
Give him above Tyler Warren?
That's a good point. I got to rethink of that one again. I have to go back to that. I did have Tyler Warren last year for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was so awesome though in the open field. Like they were talking about it with, missed tackles. I mean, it's just like, he was like a receiver when he got the ball. And you're like, who is this guy? And I'll be honest, I didn't really know who he was. I drafted Njoku in a league and him like, this guy also came out of nowhere and took his job. So, I like Fannin a lot. Maybe it's that. Maybe I'm having it's the whole, I can't have it. Not just desserts, but whatever that saying is, right? I'm in love with him. I couldn't have him, so now I'm in love with him.
Yeah. The grass is always greener.
Yeah, totally.
So that's gonna wrap us up for today. Abe, thanks for hanging out and talking about the risers and fallers that we're seeing over the last month and a half. We're going to be back with this almost every week here. We're going to be back in a couple weeks here at the end of July with the next round of risers and fallers to talk about. We'll probably look at some deep cuts for next time, and then we'll look at a weekly series heading through draft week so that you can stay on top of the market movement with ADP. And if you want to get yourself educated, listen to the best analysts talk about the players you're researching, join us on theweekinfantasy.com, aka TWIF. Download us in the App Store, and everything is free. You've got access to all of the information from the fantasy content ecosphere organized around your players and your teams here on The Week in Fantasy. Peace out.